Hello and welcome to Jedite's Pagan Vlog. I'm I'm Jedite83. I am the host of the show. I am a priest of the Correllian tradition, priest in this, and creator of the Starry Sky tradition of Wicca. And this is my ongoing series teaching people how to practice Wicca and witchcraft. At least the forms that I do. I believe it was Lao Tzu who said, "A bowl is most useful when it is empty." What does that mean? That means that when a bowl contains something in it, it's good for that one thing. It can do that one job. But when it's empty, it has potential to hold or to do anything. The mind is very similar to that. When we have filled our mind with preconceived notions and prejudices, with our opinions of how things should be or how things are, then we have also closed our mind to the potential of other possibilities. What I mean on this one is, back when I started on this path, even though I practiced generally as a solitaire, I did join several public groups, and there were a lot of people in those groups who were of the philosophy of, well, I do it this way, therefore this is the only way to do it. So-and-so author said it's got to be done this way, therefore it's the only way, therefore everyone must do it this way. And if someone tried to deviate from that, either they didn't know how to handle it or they quit up a fight, because it rocked their mental boat. These types of mentalities, this type of thinking is, if you wish to learn and master the craft, these will hold you back. In the Correllian tradition, which is where most of my teachings are based off of, and in my own system that I'm developing, Starry Sky Wicca, we place the air is placed at, for the quarters, air is placed at east, fire at south, water at west, and earth at north. And we call them in that order, which is clockwise. And then when we dismiss the circle and dismiss the elements or the watchtowers, whatever you call them, we work in reverse order. However, it would be real easy for some people who've only read that to assume, well, this is how it's done, this is how everyone must do it. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, I fidget with things when I record these videos and I keep dropping them. However, it'd be real easy to assume that that's how everyone calls and dismisses the elements. However, it's not true. I know people whose traditions, within Wicca, different traditions in Wicca, place the elements in different positions. Some people start in the north instead of in the east. I have a friend who, I know she's a practicing witch. I don't think it's in Wicca though, but she decided to do a one-off ritual where she only called 3 elements. I forget which system she had borrowed them from, but it was like earth, fire, and sky. It was an odd one, but she was willing to experiment with it. Her mind was empty to those preconceived notions and open to trying new things. And she got a lot of issues for it from a lot of people who are of the my way's the only way mentality, who just couldn't deal with the fact somebody was doing something different than how they thought it should be. Um, I like to think I'm pretty open-minded on this stuff, and I do know every once in a while I slip into the mentality of this is how I learned to do it. Therefore, this is how it's done. I try not to, but I do know I accidentally do it every once in a while, and admitting that I do it certainly helps me acknowledge that this is something I need to work on, and I think more people really need to do this also. If you wish to grow, and if you wish to expand your abilities in the craft, in Wicca, be open to new possibilities. Just because your favorite author said in this book, it's got to be done this way, or you need all these tools on your altar, and they're used in this way, and your altar's set up this way. That's how they do it. If you wish to do it that way, that's fine, but don't assume that I or anyone else does it this way. Excuse me. Leave your preconceived notions, leave those prejudices, leave all that at the door, and open your mind, empty your bowl, open your mind to new possibilities, new ways of doing things. Even if you don't adopt them into your practice, at least you're aware they're there. At least you've educated yourself on how other people do it. And if you want to do group rituals, especially like big open group rituals or public rituals, or if you belong to like a public group like I did, where you've got people who will come together once in a while as a group, but generally don't work together beyond that, this is important. This is how you're going to succeed and mesh with them best. It's also worth knowing, a lot of people say, oh, well, this book says this. That author may or may not be an expert, and that's something to keep in mind, too. I know. Sorry, there was a weird noise outside. I think it's... Oh, it's my lawn, guys. I'm sorry if my microphone picks up the noises. That's their mowing my lawn. Oh, yes. Right by my window. Sorry about all that. What was I saying? Yes. Open your mind. That's the key to take away here. Empty that bowl so it can hold anything. Whether or not what you learn is something you adopt is up to you. And building on that, I believe it was Socrates who said, I only know one thing, that I know nothing. And that is another valuable thing that, as someone who practices magic, and more people in our community need to know. And I think this builds on the last one too. There's a lot of people out there who will read a book and assume that they know everything about the book. And everything about what the book talks about. And sadly, and I'm not going to mention an author, but I do know of at least one author that their fans tend to have that mentality. Oh, I read this book by so-and-so, therefore I'm an expert on this. No, you're maybe an expert on what that book taught, but did that book go, how in-depth did that book go? And what about all the other ways of doing things? You're not an expert because you read the book. the field of Wicca, the field of magic, the fields of paganism as a whole is massive. It is vast. It is more than anyone's going to know. And one of the wisest things you can do for yourself is to admit you know nothing. I've been practicing for 20 years. 21 years at this point, I'm sorry. And I'll tell you, I know nothing. I know how to do what I do, but I'm not an expert on anything by any means. And that's one of the things that if you wish to, that's another thing that if you wish to grow and develop your skills as a magician, you need to, at least with yourself, be confident in saying, I know nothing. Don't just go into something assuming I know everything. That's not true. You don't. I don't care if you've been practicing a day or 20 years or 50 years. You know nothing. You ever notice that people who've been practicing this craft for a long time have large libraries of either physical books or e-books or a mix of the two, plus their own notes and stuff? That's because they don't know everything. But they do know where they can go find the information they need. I actually had a professor when I was working on my associate's degree in computer science. He always said the most important thing wasn't memorizing it, it was knowing where to look for the information. And that makes sense in computer science. That's, today it might be this way, but tomorrow an update will change it to something else. But knowing where to find that information is the most important thing, and I think that is true. Don't. But in the thought of knowing nothing, though, that also means don't talk about things you don't know. Like in these videos, I do touch on topics that I do know very well and that I don't know very well. The videos on topics I don't know very well, I do a bit of research beforehand, and I give a superficial overview. I don't go in depth because I don't have the knowledge to go in depth. But it is still a skill that I think people need to know and to learn. Whereas the videos where I do have a more in-depth knowledge, I will go more in depth. Excuse me. Now that they're mowing the lawn, so allergies. Back to being in public groups, and the one I was thinking about earlier specifically, there were people there who you ask them on any topic and they have knowledge on it. Do they actually have knowledge on it, or are they just saying something to look like they have knowledge on it? There was few people, more than a few people there who they had a decent grasp on a lot of things. By no means were they an expert on any of them, but if you ask them a question, they would pontificate on it for prolonged periods of time because they know everything about it. And again, these were the same people who tended to be the my way or the highway. My way's the only right group. My way's the only right way group. So the takeaways from this video that takeaways from these videos that I would like people to know is open your mind, empty your bowl, leave your preconceived notions, leave your I know everything attitude at the door, and open your mind to new ideas, new possibilities, new ways of doing things. Whether or not you integrate those into your own practice, is a different story, but at least be open to those ideas and to the knowledge that not everyone's going to do things the same way that you do things. And there's nothing wrong with admitting, I don't know. Admit that to yourself, or admit that to others. Don't talk about things that you don't know about, and don't lie to yourself assuming you know something when really you know a little bit about it, but maybe not enough. Don't be afraid to go out and research and learn more. Um, I do these videos. I like to think I know a thing or two about the community. I've admitted a long time ago to myself that I don't know very much about anything. Every video, even videos that I think I know a large amount on, I still do research beforehand. I do listen to podcasts, skim YouTube to see what other people are thinking about and sometimes I do. Even recently, I've been changing little things in my how I do things based on this research. Like one thing I did, and I've always learned when you dismiss the quarters, you use the phrase, "Go if you must, stay if you will." That's how I've learned. That's how I've done it for 20 years. A friend of mine who follows a different form of Wicca, Alexandrian Wicca, yeah, he pointed out he does it differently. He doesn't give the element or the watchtower, what have you, or whatever you call it, that option to stay. It's his space. He controls those energies. So he instead just tells them it's time to leave and uses the phrase, "Go in peace and go in power." And I thought about that. I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. You know, this is my sacred space. This is a room in my house. This is also my bedroom too. I film these in, or that I do my working in. I also film here too. Probably the only difference between me and video and me doing rituals, which direction I turn this chair, and the great screen, obviously. So it is in my interest to control what energies build up in this room. So I don't just tell them, "Yeah, stay, go, whatever, I don't care." No, I'm shaping the energies in this room. So I've adopted the phrase, "Go in peace, go in power," into my rituals. I had an open mind. I was willing to acknowledge that somebody does things different than me, and then I discovered, oh, this actually works for me. Works better than how I'm doing things. I actually just took a class on the elements on Witch School, which is the seminary for the Correllian tradition. Yeah, they covered it in my degree training, but this was a more in-depth class I was interested in. And it says you have to do it. You have to do it this way, and you have to say, "Go if you will, stay if you must." Or no, "Go if you must, stay if you will." You have to do it. Like, no, you don't. So yeah, I hope I've given you a few things to think about, a few things for you to mentally chew on. An open mind is open to new knowledge, to new information, new ways of doing things. Whether or not you adopt those into your practice is a different story, but at least be open to it, at least be willing to try, and at least be willing to accept people who don't do things the way you do. And don't kid yourself on how much you do or don't know about a topic. Don't try to make yourself look like a genius who knows everything about everything. You're not, I'm not, no one is. There's very few in our community where I'd say, yeah, he seems to know everything about everything. And if you ask those individuals, they'll tell you they don't. Because they are open to the fact that they know nothing. And for those people who, especially the newer people who like to think they know everything, eventually you're going to hit somebody who knows more about a topic than you do, and you're going to try to pontificate to them, and they're going to call you out. And that's the thing you don't want. You lose a lot of credibility there. And if somebody asks you a question you don't know, just say, "I don't know about that one, sorry." Or if you know a little bit, share what you do know, or share where they can find the information they're looking for. Ours is a path of learning. There are no convenient ways to learn witchcraft, no easy ways. Research is something you're going to have to do. This video series is not meant to be a 100% in-depth thing. I hope to give you a little bit of knowledge on how things are done, so you have the concepts, so you have the ideas, so you have the words, so you know where you're going to go look for more information. That's pretty much mainly what I had to talk about today. Actually, this was even the video that I was planning on doing for this one. I'll do that on Thursday. But I randomly came across a video by a YouTuber. Do I have their name here? I actually want to give a little shout out on this one. Come on, where are you? Hold on 1 second. I'm looking for something on my other screen. Oh, I'm in the wrong section. Wow, I've got a lot of subscriptions. Okay, here it is. There's a YouTube channel called Secret Ways of a Wizard. And they do a series called Merlin's Magical Training, and I was listening to it at work the other day, and episode 2 was exactly what we're talking about here. It was literally, I used the term emptying your bowl, he used the term emptying your cup. He did say, and I would suggest looking up that video. Just Google or YouTube search Merlin's Magical Training, episode 2, and you'll find it. He says it a lot better than me, and these were concepts that I knew, like I knew to do this stuff, but I never really thought about it as a forethought. Like I know in the back of my head people do things different than me, my way is not the only way. But I've never really sat and thought about it. Or thought to tell other people that this is something that we need to do. I never really, like I know people think they know everything. This is all stuff I knew in the back of my head, but I've never thought about it like as a major forethought. I've never pondered on it. And I came across these videos the other day while I was at work. I'm a delivery driver in my day job. So I listen to a lot of just podcasts and stuff, and I had thrown those on because I had come across it. And I'm like, he's right, I've never really thought of it that way. So there's a case where my mind was open, and I walked away with my mind was open to what he had to say, and I was like, yeah, he's right. I sort of knew it, but I never really thought about it. And it's a channel, he's only got a couple videos in that series. It's definitely a work in progress, but definitely a good series to check it out. And I would say, yeah, check out his channel, Secret Ways of a Wizard. And of course, if you like what I'm doing here, subscribe to me on YouTube. You can just find me under Temple of the Starry Sky. And you can also check out my website, wiccan.pw. That's WICCAN.pw. But as I said, I hope I gave you something to think about. I do these videos live streamed on Monday and Wednesday mornings, usually about 10 a.m. Eastern, and then I rebroadcast these as pre-recorded material on Pagan.world TV, which you can check out at Pagan.world. That's their web address. They usually go 4 p.m. the day after the live stream. So Mondays it rebroadcast on Tuesday, and my Wednesday episode will rebroadcast on Thursdays. And if you want to support this project, we do accept tax-exempt donations. We are a 501c3 as a church established here in the state of Florida. If you'd like to donate, there is a button on our wiccan.pw website. In the near future, I am going to be setting up a Patreon for people who'd like to do continuing our ongoing donations. Thank you. Take care. I hope you have a great day. Stay healthy. And until next time, may you blessed be.